Hey everyone, welcome to SideQuest English, the podcast where we step away from the boring textbooks to explore fascinating topics, one random deep dive at a time.
And today's mission is all about something literally every single one of you listening right now has experienced.
Oh, absolutely. We are going to explore the powerful, almost time-traveling magic of music.
Right.
Because, have you ever wondered how just the first 3 seconds of a random song can instantly transport you back to a specific day in your childhood?
It's a crazy feeling.
It really is. So we're going to dig into the actual neuroscience behind that time machine.
And then we're diving into a massive debate that honestly divides music lovers everywhere.
Oh yeah, the concert debate. Are those incredibly expensive, crowded live shows actually worth the money, or is listening at home secretly the better experience?
I know you have strong opinions on that one.
I do, I really do. But finally, because we know you're on a journey to master English, we'll look at how you can use English song lyrics as a secret weapon to learn faster.
But we'll also reveal when doing that might actually be short-circuiting your brain.
Yeah, you have to be careful with it. It's a huge topic, and the sources we've gathered for this deep dive are just fascinating.
They really are. I mean, we've got research from top psychology journals, we have neuroscience papers, and even some heated debates from music forums.
Plus hard data from language learning experts. But our goal isn't just to throw facts at you.
No, not at all. We want to connect the dots, right? To explain exactly why your brain reacts to music the way it does.
And give you practical tools for your English learning. So I want to jump right into this time machine concept first.
Let's do it.
Because this happens to me, all the time. Picture this. You're just walking through a regular grocery store, right?
Okay, I'm picturing it.
You're thinking about what kind of milk to buy, completely lost in your normal, boring adult life.
Right, just on autopilot.
Exactly. And suddenly, a song from 10 years ago starts playing quietly on the store speakers. It only takes 2 or 3 seconds.
Yep, that's all it takes.
You don't just recognize the melody, you are entirely transported.
It's like a physical hit.
It is. Out of nowhere, you can almost feel the exact weather of a day a decade ago. You remember the specific old jacket you were wearing?
Wow, yeah.
You remember the people you were sitting with in a car, and you feel that exact same nervous, excited energy you felt back then.
It's so vivid.
Right. It's not just a memory. It feels like a hidden door in your brain just blew wide open.
Well, that intense, full-body experience is actually universally recognized, and cognitive scientists have spent years studying it.
Wait, they have an actual name for the grocery store time machine?
They do, yeah. They have a formal name for it. It's called Music-Evoked Autobiographical Memories.
Okay, that's a mouthful.
It is, which is why researchers usually just shorten it to the acronym MEMS.
Memes. Okay, music-evoked autobiographical memories.
Exactly.
So the music-evoked part means the song triggers it, obviously.
Right.
And autobiographical means it's a specific chapter from your own life story, not just a random fact.
You've got it. It's deeply personal.
But here's what I don't really get. Why does this happen so intensely with music?
What do you mean?
Well, I don't get a vivid emotional time travel experience when I touch an old coffee cup, or look at a picture of a standard chair.
That's a great point.
So what makes it sound so special?
Well, to understand that, we have to look closely at the architecture of the brain. Specifically, how different sensory inputs are wired.
Okay, like how the wiring is different for eyes versus ears.
Basically, yes. Most of our senses, like sight or touch, are processed in ways that naturally fade or get overwritten as we age.
Because we see and touch too much stuff.
Exactly. You touch thousands of objects a day. Your brain simply can't keep an emotional record of all of them.
That makes sense. It would be exhausting.
Right. But sound, and specifically the structured sound of music, takes a completely different pathway through your nervous system.
So the brain actually treats a song differently than a photograph.
Yes, very differently. When you hear a piece of music during a highly emotional moment in your life,
like a first date or something.
like a first date, a big graduation, or even a really painful breakup, the auditory signals travel into your brain and simultaneously activate 2 critical regions.
Okay, 2 regions. What's the first one?
First, we have the hippocampus.
Ah, the hippocampus. I've heard of that.
Yeah, pretty famous in biology.
If I remember correctly from science class, it's basically the brain's memory manager. Right?
That's a great way to think of it, actually. The hippocampus is like the highly organized librarian of your brain.
The librarian. I like that.
Yeah, catalogs all the facts.
Right.
Where you were, who you were with, what time of day it was.
Okay, so it writes down the basic data of the memory.
Exactly. But while the hippocampus is busy filing away those facts, The music is also stimulating another region right next to it.
Oh, what's that one called?
It's called the amygdala.
The amygdala. I feel like I know this. That's the part that deals with feelings, isn't it?
You got it. The amygdala is your emotional processing center.
So it handles, like, fear and joy.
Fear, joy, excitement, anxiety, all of it. So picture what's happening when that important life event occurs.
Okay, I'm picturing it.
The music is playing in the background. Your hippocampus is recording the facts of the event.
The librarian is taking notes.
Right. And your amygdala is processing the intense emotions you're feeling.
Okay, so both are working at the exact same time.
Yes.
Yeah.
And because these two regions are highly connected, the brain essentially links them together. The song becomes the binding agent.
I see. So it's like the brain wraps the facts and the feelings into one single package.
Yes.
And it uses the song as, like, the barcode on the outside of the box.
Oh, that's a fantastic analogy. Yes, exactly.
Oh, musical barcode.
The brain stores the memory and the emotional soundtrack as a single combined network. Neuroscientists have a saying, neurons that fire together, wire together.
Wow. Fire together, wire together, so they get permanently connected.
Exactly. So jump forward 10 years to when you're standing in that grocery store.
Looking at the milk.
Right. The moment those specific sound waves hit your ear, they scan that barcode.
Oh, wow.
Your brain doesn't just retrieve the facts from the librarian, it immediately reactivates the amygdala.
So it forces the feelings to come back.
It forces your body to replay the exact chemical emotions you felt a decade ago.
That is wild.
Yeah, you aren't just remembering the past. On a neurological level, you're temporarily reliving it.
That is mind-blowing. It really is a biological time machine.
It really is.
But reading through our sources for this deep dive, there was a specific detail about this that I found completely fascinating.
Which part?
Well, this barcode system doesn't seem to work equally for all the music we hear in our lives.
Ah, right.
There's like a specific window of time when this memory glue is incredibly strong. They call it the reminiscence bump.
Yes, the reminiscence bump. It's honestly one of the most robust findings in memory research.
So what exactly is it?
Well, if you ask a group of older adults, say people in their 60s or 70s, to name their favorite songs or the most important music of their lives.
Let me guess, they don't pick anything from the radio today.
Nope. They rarely pick anything that was released in the last few years.
That makes sense.
They almost always point to the music that was popular when they were teenagers and young adults.
So there's a specific age range for this bump.
Yes, the reminiscence bump generally occurs between the ages of 12 and 22.
Man, I can completely validate that with my own life.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, 100%. The songs I had on repeat in high school just hit me so much harder than any new album released this year.
It's a very common experience.
Even if I logically know a new song is musically better, you know, like the production is better, it just doesn't give me that visceral punch in the chest.
Because it doesn't have that barcode from your youth.
Right, but why that specific decade? What is so magical about the brain between ages 12 and 22?
To figure out why, we have to look at what the adolescent brain is actively doing during those years.
Okay, what is it doing? Besides causing trouble.
Well, you can think of the teenage brain as a highly sensitive sponge.
Sponge, okay.
It is practically vibrating with curiosity and the drive to experience new things. Biologically, the brain is undergoing massive changes.
So it's physically different from an adult brain.
Yes. The plasticity, which is the brain's ability to easily absorb new information and rewire itself, is at an absolute peak.
Okay, so the brain is literally softer or like more adaptable during those years.
Essentially, yes. It's incredibly adaptable. But more importantly, let's look at the psychology of that age.
The psychology, right?
Between 12 and 22, you are doing the hardest psychological work of your life. You are figuring out who you are.
Oh, for sure. Building your identity.
Exactly. You are building your adult identity. You're separating from your parents' direct control, and you're trying to find your place in a wider social circle.
Yeah, you're just desperate to fit in.
Desperate to fit in, to be understood, and to form bonds with peers.
So music isn't just background noise during those years.
Not at all.
It's more like a tool we use to build our personality. Like, I listen to punk rock, therefore I am a rebel.
That's exactly that.
Or, we both love this pop singer, so we are part of the same tribe.
You nailed it. Music acts as a social adhesive.
A social adhesive, I like that term.
When you discover a band with your friends, sharing that music provides a massive hit of dopamine.
It feels good to belong.
Right. It gives you a profound feeling of social reward.
Yeah.
And because you're experiencing so many firsts, Your first love, your first heartbreak, your first time driving a car alone.
Everything feels like the end of the world when you're a teenager.
Exactly. The emotions are incredibly intense, and since the brain's filter isn't fully developed yet to regulate these big feelings, the music playing during these defining moments gets stamped into your brain permanently.
It just locks in.
The music becomes woven into the very foundation of your self-identity.
I really love that idea of music as a social adhesive. But I want to push back on something here, or at least explore the feeling a bit more deeply.
Sure, go ahead.
When we talk about these powerful memories triggered by old songs, we typically use the word nostalgia, right?
Yes, nostalgia is the common term.
When I hear a track from my high school days, I say I feel nostalgic. But is nostalgia actually a good thing?
That's a really interesting question.
Because sometimes, honestly, it doesn't feel like a happy time travel trip. Sometimes it feels heavy.
Heavy how?
Like a sad weight in my chest, you know? Like a painful longing for a time I can never get back.
Well, that mixed feeling, that bittersweet heaviness, is a very natural part of nostalgia.
So I'm not crazy for feeling sad when a happy song plays.
Not at all. In fact, that exact bittersweet feeling has caused a lot of confusion throughout history.
Confusion.
Yes. For a very long time, the medical community believed nostalgia was literally a dangerous disease.
Wait, a disease? Like catching a cold or having a virus?
Even more serious than that, they thought it was a severe psychiatric and neurological disorder.
You're joking. A neurological disorder from missing the past.
I'm completely serious. The term nostalgia was actually coined in 1688 by a Swiss medical student.
Wow, 1688. Who was the student?
His name was Johannes Hofer.
Johannes Hofer. Okay, what exactly was he observing that made him invent a whole new disease?
Well, he was observing Swiss soldiers who were working as mercenaries, fighting in foreign wars, far away from their homes in the Alps.
Okay, so they were far from home.
Right, and these young men would become completely overwhelmed by memories of their homeland.
They got homesick.
Extreme homesickness. They would lose their appetites, they couldn't sleep, they would break into fevers, and they would become deeply depressed.
Just from missing home, that sounds awful.
It gets crazier. Dr. Hofer observed that this condition was often triggered by a specific piece of music.
Wait, a song caused the fevers?
Yes, a traditional Swiss cow-herding melody called the Ronde des Vaches.
So hearing this simple song from their childhood made the soldiers so homesick that they physically broke down.
Yes. Dr. Hofer believed that the intense desire to return home was causing harmful vibrations in the brain's nerve fibers.
Harmful vibrations in the brain. That is such a 1600s medical diagnosis.
Right. But for hundreds of years after that, nostalgia was treated as a dangerous psychological illness. It was equated with severe melancholia.
That is wild. I mean, I guess if they thought a song was giving soldiers a brain disease, they probably tried to ban the music, right?
Oh, they absolutely did.
Yeah.
During the American Civil War in the 1860s, Army commanders noticed a similar thing.
What happened?
When the military bands played songs that reminded the soldiers of their families, like the famous tune, Home Sweet Home,
The soldiers got depressed.
the men became overwhelmed with grief and nostalgia. It got so bad that some commanders strictly forbade the bands from playing those nostalgic songs.
They banned Home Sweet Home.
They feared the soldiers would become too depressed to fight, or worse, that they would try to desert the army.
So for centuries, the official medical advice was basically, stop listening to your favorite old songs or you'll lose your mind.
Essentially, yes.
But modern science has completely flipped the script on this, hasn't it?
Completely. Today, modern psychology recognizes that Dr. Hofer and those military commanders were only looking at the surface symptoms of extreme homesickness.
They were missing the big picture.
Exactly. They missed the underlying psychological mechanism. We now know that nostalgia is not a disease at all.
So it's not harmful vibrations.
No. It is a highly positive, complex, emotional resource. Psychologists today describe nostalgia as a psychological buffer.
A psychological buffer, like a shock absorber on a car, but for your mind.
That's a good way to picture it.
How does that actually work?
Think about when you usually seek out nostalgic music. It's rarely when you're having the best, most exciting day of your life.
That's true. When I'm having a great day, I listen to new, upbeat stuff.
Right. People naturally lean on nostalgic music when they're feeling stressed, anxious, lonely, or when they're going through a difficult life transition.
Okay, so we use it when we're down.
Yes. And when you experience that bittersweet feeling of nostalgia, it actually triggers several highly beneficial processes in your mind.
So it's basically the brain's natural medicine. What exactly are the benefits?
First, it boosts your self-esteem.
Really?
Yeah.
Just by listening to an old song?
Yes. By reminding you of past successes or happy times, it reassures you that you are a capable, valuable person.
Oh, that makes sense. Like, I was happy then. I am a good person.
Exactly. Second, it fosters a strong sense of social connectedness.
Because you remember your friends.
Right. When you remember your old friends or family, you feel loved and supported, which actively fights off feelings of loneliness.
Even if they aren't in the room with you.
Even if you're totally alone. And finally, nostalgia brings a sense of meaning and continuity to your life.
Continuity, meaning it helps you realize that the person you were at 15 is still connected to the person you are today.
Yes. Your life isn't just a random series of disconnected days, it's a complete story.
A continuous narrative.
Precisely. It helps you see the narrative arc of your life. When you reflect on how you've grown from those past memories, it actually increases your optimism for the future.
That is so interesting. You think, I survived those changes, I was loved then, and I will be okay now.
That's the exact thought process.
That completely changes how I view my own playlists.
How so?
Well, it means that when I'm having a terrible, stressful week at work, putting on my old high school playlist isn't me running away from my problems, you know?
Right, it's not escapism.
Yeah, it's not living in the past. It's actually a scientifically validated way to put an emotional shield up, remind myself of who I am, and gather the strength to face the future.
That's a perfect summary. It's a coping mechanism designed by your own neurobiology.
But our sources pointed out one more incredible detail about this reminiscence bump that just blew my mind.
The cascading effect.
Yes. It turns out we aren't just emotionally tied to our own past. We apparently have a deep connection to our parents' past, too.
Yes. This is a fascinating phenomenon called the cascading reminiscence bump.
Cascading like a waterfall.
Exactly. Researchers discovered that young adults don't just have a spike in emotional memories for the music of their own teenage years.
Right.
They also show a surprising secondary spike for music that was popular up to 2 decades before they were even born.
Wait, how does that work? How can I feel nostalgic for a time before I existed?
It happens because the music that triggers this secondary bump is usually the exact music that your parents were listening to during their reminiscence bump.
Oh, I see. Okay, let me walk through this. Let's say I was born in the year 2000.
Okay, born in 2000.
My own primary reminiscence bump would be around 2015 during my high school years.
Correct.
But my parents might have been teenagers in the mid-1980s.
Right, so their bump is the 80s.
And because that 1980s music was cemented into their identity, they probably played it constantly in the house or the car while I was growing up in the early 2000s.
Exactly. You absorb their most emotionally charged music during your formative childhood years.
So the nostalgia basically cascades down from one generation to the next.
Yes. It highlights just how deeply music is intertwined with our early family environments and our sense of safety and home.
That totally explains why I know every single word to songs that were released 20 years before I was born.
It's not a coincidence.
It's like I inherited my parents' musical time machine.
You did.
Well, this brings us to a huge question, though.
All right, what is it?
If the music of our youth, and even our parents' youth, holds this immense identity-shaping power, what is the absolute best way to experience it today?
Ah, the great debate.
Exactly. Let's say I want to really feel that music. Do I empty my bank account to go stand in the stadium and see the band live? Or is it actually better to just put on my best headphones and listen at home?
This is a debate that generates very strong opinions.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah, the sources we reviewed, especially the discussions from CNET and various Reddit music communities, show that there are highly valid, yet completely opposing viewpoints on this.
Well, I'm going to take a clear stance on this right away.
I figured you would.
Based on everything I've read in these sources, and honestly based on my own life, I think listening at home is vastly superior.
Really? Vastly superior.
Well, don't get me wrong, the idea of a live concert sounds romantic and thrilling. But let's look at the harsh reality of the modern live music industry.
You're referring to the logistical and economic barriers that have become increasingly prominent.
Yes, the economic barriers are out of control. We read the articles about the massive lawsuits and complaints against ticketing monopolies like Ticketmaster.
It is a huge issue right now.
Fans are furious. Ticket brokers and bots buy up all the good seats in seconds, and then they resell them for thousands of dollars.
The secondary market is very tough.
And even if you manage to buy a ticket at face value, the hidden fees basically double the price. It's completely inaccessible for the average person.
The financial strain is a significant issue, The cost of touring has skyrocketed, and that cost is often passed directly to the consumer.
Exactly.
For many people, spending a week's salary on a 2-hour event simply isn't justifiable.
Exactly. And let's pretend for a second that money isn't an issue.
Yeah.
You buy the ticket. What is the actual physical experience like?
It can be challenging.
It's a logistical nightmare. You have to navigate terrible traffic, pay $50 just to park your car, and then stand in endless lines just to get inside.
That's all true.
If it's an outdoor festival, you might be standing in the freezing rain or baking in the summer heat. And then, after all that suffering, the music finally starts. And the sound quality is often terrible.
Well, the acoustics of large venues are notoriously difficult to manage.
I mean, it just bounces off the wall.
Sound engineers working in massive concrete stadiums or open fields face huge challenges. The audio can often sound muddy, distorted, or heavily compressed compared to a pristine studio recording.
Muddy is the perfect word. Half the time the bass is so loud it drowns out everything else and you can't even hear the singer's voice clearly.
It happens a lot.
But the worst part, by far, is the crowd.
Of the crowd.
The sources from Reddit were full of horror stories. You're packed in like sardines. You have to deal with people coughing on you, people spilling expensive drinks on your shoes, or the person next to you who clearly forgot to wear deodorant.
It is definitely a very close quarters experience.
And then there's the audience behavior. One Reddit user shared a story that just drove me crazy.
About the classical concert.
Yes! They were watching a world-renowned orchestra conductor named Osmo Vanska. It was a beautiful, emotional, classical piece.
Right.
At the very end of the performance, the conductor held his baton up, wanting the final, delicate notes to fade into a profound, beautiful silence. He wanted the audience to just sit in the emotion for a few seconds.
To let the moment breathe.
Exactly. But some guy in the back row started clapping and cheering way too early. He completely ruined the atmosphere.
That is frustrating.
The conductor actually turned around and gave the guy a death stare.
Wow.
When I listen at home, I never have to deal with some random person ruining the ending of my favorite song.
Well, what you're describing is the desire for a completely controlled aesthetic environment. And you are correct.
Thank you.
At home, especially with the advancement of high-fidelity headphones and spatial audio technology, you are guaranteed perfect sound quality.
It sounds so crisp.
You hear the song exactly the way the artist, the producer, and the mastering engineer intended it to be heard after months of careful work in the studio.
No muddy bass.
Right. You control the volume, you control the temperature of the room, and you control who is sitting next to you. It is a pure, undistracted interaction with the art itself.
Exactly. It's comfortable, it's intimate, and I can pause it if I need to go to the kitchen.
Very practical.
So, given all of that, the cost, the crowds, the bad sound, why do so many people still defend the live concert experience so passionately?
Because, as the proponents in our sources argue, live music offers an element that is biologically and psychologically impossible to replicate in a living room.
Okay, what is that element?
It provides what one music critic described as tangible electricity.
Tangible electricity. That sounds poetic, but what does it actually mean in reality?
It means that live music is a physical and collective phenomenon. First, let's look at the physical aspect.
Okay.
You mentioned that the basic concerts can be too loud. But for many fans, that physical sensation is exactly why they go. They want to be deafened.
No, but sound is literally a wave of pressure moving through the air. When you are in a venue with massive amplifiers, you aren't just hearing the music with your ears. Your entire skeletal system and chest cavity are feeling the vibrations.
Okay, that's fair.
The music physically touches you. You cannot get that from a pair of headphones.
I have to admit, feeling the kick drum hit you right in the chest is a pretty unique feeling. But what about the crowd? To me, the crowd is the worst part.
To the fans of live music, the crowd is the best part.
I don't get it.
Well, this connects back to the social rewards we discussed earlier regarding the adolescent brain.
The social adhesive thing.
Exactly. Humans are fundamentally social creatures. We have an evolutionary drive to gather and share emotional experiences.
Right.
When you are standing in a crowd of 50,000 people and the band starts playing a legendary anthem, and every single person around you is singing the exact same words at the exact same time.
Yeah, that is a cool sight.
It creates a state called collective effervescence. Collective effervescence, like a bubbling shared energy.
Yes. The boundaries between you and the strangers around you temporarily dissolve. You feel like you are part of a single, massive organism.
Wow.
Mark Monahan, the founder of the famous Blues Fest, was quoted in our sources emphasizing this exact point.
What did he say?
He said the human aspect remains at the absolute core of the music industry. A live concert is not just a place to listen to music, it is a vital social ritual. You're listening to music with others.
A social ritual.
Furthermore, a live performance is organic. A studio recording is a frozen artifact. It will sound exactly the same every single time you play it.
Right, which I like. It's reliable.
Sure, but a live show is a living, breathing moment of creation. The lead singer might change the lyrics to reference the city they are in.
Oh, true.
The guitarist might improvise a solo that they have never played before and will never play again. You are witnessing a unique piece of art being born in real time. And by reacting to it as an audience, you are actually participating in the creation of that moment.
I see. It's the difference between looking at a perfect photograph of a storm versus actually standing outside in the rain and feeling the wind.
That's a beautiful way to put it.
Even if the photograph is perfect, it lacks the danger and the thrill of the real thing.
Exactly. And the emotional impact of that shared thrill is so immense that it actually creates a recognized psychological aftermath.
An aftermath, like a hangover.
Kind of. Our sources dive into a phenomenon known among fans as post-concert depression.
Post-concert depression, like a literal emotional crash after the show is over.
Yes. During a great concert, your brain is flooded with a cocktail of neurochemicals. Dopamine, adrenaline, endorphins, and oxytocin.
Oxytocin is the bonding one, right?
Yes, the bonding hormone released when you feel connected to the crowd.
Yeah.
You are riding a massive euphoric high.
Sounds amazing.
But the next morning, you wake up, the adrenaline is gone, your dopamine levels drop back to normal, you have to go to work, do the laundry, and return to your ordinary routine.
Back to the boring real world.
Exactly. The contrast between that peak collective experience and the mundane reality of everyday life is so sharp that fans report feeling genuine feelings of grief, emptiness, and profound loneliness.
Just from missing the concert?
Yes, because they realize that the unique, magical moment is gone forever, and they are no longer surrounded by their tribe of fellow fans.
That's intense.
The very fact that post-concert depression is so common is the ultimate proof of how emotionally impactful the live experience truly is.
Wow. You pay hundreds of dollars, fight through traffic, stand in a sweaty room, and your reward is getting depressed the next day.
When you put it like that.
But seriously, I do understand now. The power of that shared human connection is undeniable.
It really is.
However, we still have this massive logistical and financial problem. Most people just can't afford to chase that high very often.
Which is very true.
This brings us to a potential middle ground that a lot of tech companies are trying to build right now.
The virtual solutions.
Yeah. What if you could have the front row live experience, but without ever leaving the comfort of your house?
You're pointing toward the rapidly expanding world of virtual reality, augmented reality, and spatial computing.
Exactly. We saw this explode during the global pandemic. Artists couldn't tour, so they turned to digital platforms.
Massive stars like Billie Eilish, Ariana Grande, and Travis Scott held virtual concerts inside video games and digital spaces.
And millions of people attended simultaneously. And now the technology is getting even more advanced. The sources mention concepts like Sony Sphere and spatial computing headsets.
Yes, spatial computing is the new frontier.
The promise here is incredible. You put on a pair of sleek, augmented reality glasses while sitting on your living room sofa.
Okay.
Suddenly, the artist appears as a life-size hologram performing right in front of your coffee table. The stage lighting maps perfectly onto your walls.
That sounds like science fiction.
But it's happening. You get the visual spectacle of a massive arena tour, but you have the perfect audio and physical comfort of being at home.
Well, the music industry sees this as a trillion-dollar frontier. The scalability is unprecedented.
What do you mean by scalability?
A physical festival like Coachella might max out at 100,000 people, right?
Right.
A virtual spatial concert can host 10 million people globally at the exact same moment.
Wow. 10 million tickets.
It completely eliminates the barriers of ticket scarcity, travel expenses, and poor venue acoustics.
That solves all my problems with live shows.
And the goal of developers working on these AR experiences is not just to put a flat screen closer to your face. They want to provide true novelty.
So it's not just like watching TV.
No, they want the digital elements to interact with your physical environment, creating a sense of presence, the illusion that the artist is truly sharing your physical space.
Okay, I have to push back on this vision of the future, though.
Why is that?
As cool as the technology sounds, aren't we walking into a trap? We just spent 10 minutes talking about how the true magic of live music is the tangible electricity.
Right, the physical vibration and the collective effervescence.
Exactly, the effervescence of the crowd. If I'm sitting alone in my apartment wearing a headset staring at a hologram, I am not feeling the heat of the crowd.
No, you're not.
I am not accidentally making eye contact with the person next to me who is singing the same lyric. I am not feeling the bass in my chest.
All valid points.
Aren't we just stripping away the messy, beautiful human aspect and replacing it with a sterile video game?
That is the single greatest challenge facing spiritual computing today. The technology can replicate the visual spectacle perfectly.
Sure, it looks great.
It can even transcend reality, allowing artists to perform on a virtual moon or change outfits in a millisecond. It can deliver flawless, perfectly mixed audio directly into your ears.
But the human part?
But you are entirely correct. Replicating the feeling of being part of a physical, breathing crowd is incredibly difficult.
It just feels lonely.
As one researcher in our sources pointed out, if virtual reality just reverts to a broadcaster-to-listener model where you are just passively consuming content alone, it misses the entire point of live music.
Exactly.
The long-term success of virtual concerts will completely depend on whether developers can invent new ways for users to genuinely interact and feel socially connected with other virtual attendees.
So they have to figure out the social reward puzzle.
If they can't solve it, it will always feel like an isolated experience.
It's a fascinating debate, and I don't think there's a perfect answer yet.
Probably not.
Whether you are someone who loves screaming in a crowded arena, an early adopter wearing AR glasses in your bedroom, or someone like me who just wants to chill on the sofa with a good pair of headphones.
There is one common thread here.
Yes, there is one common thread that connects all of this directly to the person listening to us right now.
Which is?
Many of you aren't just listening to these English songs for entertainment. You are actively using this music as a tool to learn the English language.
Ah, yes. A very practical application.
This brings us to the final part of our deep dive today, learning English through lyrics. We need to know, is this actually a helpful strategy, or is it secretly hindering your progress?
This is a highly practical question, and thankfully, linguistic research provides us with very clear, actionable answers.
Okay, give me the short summary first.
The short summary is, yes, music is an incredibly powerful and effective tool for language acquisition.
Oh, awesome.
However, it comes with some very specific hidden dangers that learners need to avoid.
Okay, let's start with the positives, because I love the idea of studying by just listening to good music. How exactly does it help?
Well, according to the sources, it all starts with motivation and something called the affective filter.
The affective filter. What is an affective filter, and how does music change it?
The affective filter is a foundational concept in language learning psychology, originally proposed by a linguist named Stephen Krashen.
Okay.
Affect basically refers to your emotional state. The hypothesis states that every language learner has an invisible emotional filter or barrier in their mind.
A barrier against learning.
Yes. When a student is feeling stressed, anxious, bored, or self-conscious, their affective filter goes up. It acts like a thick brick wall.
So nothing gets through.
Right. When that wall is up, it doesn't matter how good the teacher is or how clear the textbook is. The brain physically blocks the new linguistic information from being absorbed.
The student is just too busy being nervous to actually learn.
Exactly.
I think everyone remembers that feeling from school. You're sitting in a rigid classroom, terrified the teacher's going to call your name and force you to speak in front of everyone.
A classic high-stress situation.
You're so scared of making a mistake that you can't remember a single word of vocabulary. Your filter is a mile high.
That is a high affective filter environment. But music does the exact opposite.
It relaxes you.
Music is naturally engaging, relaxing, and enjoyable. When you listen to a song you genuinely like, your anxiety plummets.
Your wall comes down.
Your affective filter is lowered, meaning the brick wall comes down. Music creates a positive, risk-free psychological environment.
So because you feel safe, your brain is more open.
Because you feel safe and entertained, your brain's language centers become wide open and highly receptive to absorbing new vocabulary and grammatical structures.
That makes total sense. And the sources also point out that the actual structure of a pop song is basically designed for learning.
Yes, the repetition.
I mean, if you read a textbook chapter, you read the words once and move on. But a standard pop song is built around a chorus that repeats 3, 4, or maybe 5 times in 3 minutes.
Repetition is the absolute cornerstone of memory retention.
So the song does the repeating for you.
In a song, you are hearing the exact same vocabulary words embedded in the exact same sentence structure over and over again.
Right.
But unlike a boring classroom drill where you repeat "the cat is on the table" 20 times, the musical repetition is highly pleasurable to the brain.
Because we like the melody.
We are wired to enjoy musical patterns. Furthermore, songs provide vital context.
Context, like a story.
Yes. You aren't just memorizing a random, disconnected list of flashcards. You are learning how native speakers naturally combine words to express complex ideas, tell a story, or convey an emotion.
And it goes beyond just listening and reading, right? One of the biggest benefits our sources highlighted is about pronunciation and speaking.
Yes, the physical act of singing along is incredibly beneficial.
Just singing in the shower.
Yep. When you sing, you are forcing your brain to engage two different systems simultaneously. Your auditory system, which is analyzing the sound, and your motor system, which controls the muscles in your mouth, tongue, and throat.
So it's basically physical training for your face.
Precisely. English is a stress-timed language.
What does stress-timed mean?
It means the rhythm of the language depends on emphasizing certain syllables and rushing through others. It also involves a lot of connected speech, where native speakers blend words together.
Like saying gonna instead of going to.
Exactly. A native speaker rarely says, "I want to go." They say, "I want to go." When you sing along with a native English vocalist, you are forced to match their exact rhythm, melody, and speed.
So you have to connect the words like they do, just to stay on beat.
Yes. You naturally train your mouth to mimic the correct stress and intonation patterns. It smooths out your accent and helps you sound much more natural than if you were just reading rigid sentences from a page.
I can absolutely validate this from my own experience.
Did you use songs to learn?
Oh, all the time. Integrating what the sources say with my own journey, learning through lyrics was my absolute secret weapon.
Tell me about it.
Long before I knew anything about complicated grammar rules like the past perfect continuous, I was just a kid singing along to old records in my bedroom.
Which records?
For example, the Beatles. I loved the song Ticket to Ride.
A classic.
By singing the chorus over and over, I effortlessly learned the phrase, "She's got a ticket to ride."
Right.
I didn't realize I was internalizing the present perfect tense, "she has got," or learning natural colloquial phrasing. It just felt like a fun game.
Because your affective filter was low.
Exactly. And another one was Neil Diamond. I remember listening to his song, Play Me.
I know that one.
It's this dramatic, beautiful song. I didn't know all the words, but the emotion in his voice made me want to understand the story he was telling.
So you looked up the lyrics.
I did, and I learned so much vocabulary just by connecting the words to the feelings in the song. It never felt like homework. It felt like solving a mystery.
What you're describing is the holy grail of education. It's called incidental learning.
Incidental, like it happened by accident.
Kind of.
Yeah.
You acquired the language naturally and effectively because you were deeply engaged with the content, not the mechanics.
It just works so well.
However, as the analytical voice of reason here, this is the exact moment where I must step in and provide the critical counter-argument from our sources.
Uh-oh. Here comes the bad news.
While music is a powerful tool, relying on it too heavily can actually hinder your progress and teach you some terrible habits.
Oh no, don't ruin my Beatles strategy. What is the hidden danger?
The first major danger is grammatical inaccuracy. We have to remember the fundamental priority of musician.
Which is to make a good song.
Exactly. They are artists, not certified grammar instructors. Their primary goal is to make the song sound aesthetically pleasing.
Right.
They care about rhythm, meter, and making the lines rhyme. They do not care about strict grammatical rules.
Huh. I see where this is going. Sometimes the grammatically correct word has the wrong number of syllables or just doesn't rhyme with the previous line.
Exactly. So musicians will routinely and intentionally break the rules of the English language to make a lyric fit the melody. This is called poetic license.
Poetic license.
The danger for a language learner is that if you treat a pop song like a textbook, you are going to internalize these broken rules and think they're correct.
Okay, let's actually look at the examples I just bragged about.
Let's do it.
In that exact same Beatles song, Ticket to Ride, the actual full lyric in the chorus is, "She's got a ticket to ride, but she don't care."
Yes.
She don't care. Wait a minute. She don't care. That is completely grammatically incorrect.
It sure is.
The pronoun is she, so the verb must be conjugated to doesn't. It should be she doesn't care.
But doesn't has two syllables.
And don't has one. They changed the grammar just to fit the beat of the song.
Precisely. And let's look at the Neil Diamond song you mentioned, Play Me.
Okay. Did he mess up too?
There was a very famous line in that song where he sings, "Song she sang to me, song she brang to me."
Brang. Brang is not a real word in the English language.
No, it is not.
The past tense of the verb brang is brought. She brought it to me. He completely invented the word brang just so it would rhyme perfectly with sang.
Exactly. Now, it's important to note that sometimes these mistakes are actually reflections of regional dialects or colloquial street speech, which have their own valid cultural contexts.
True. Dialects are a real thing.
But from the perspective of formal language learning, they are traps.
Because they'll get you marked down on a test.
If you are taking an official exam like the IELTS or the TOEFL, or if you are writing a cover letter for a university application, these phrases are completely unacceptable.
Yeah, you can't write brang on a college essay.
If you write down "she don't care" or use fake words like brang, the examiner will heavily penalize your score. You have to be incredibly careful to separate the artist's poetic license from proper formal grammar. You cannot trust a pop star to teach you the rules.
So, rule number 1. Sing along for pronunciation, but verify the grammar before you use it in an essay.
That is a solid rule.
But our sources mention a second, even more surprising danger. And this one isn't about bad grammar, it's about how our brains physically function when we try to study.
Yes, this is called the metacognition trap.
The metacognition trap.
Yes, this is an absolutely vital point for any listeners who are currently students or who study independently.
What is the trap?
Many people have a habit of putting on a playlist of their favorite English songs while they're sitting at their desk, reading a dense textbook, writing an essay, or trying to memorize vocabulary lists.
Oh, guilty! I do that all the time.
They believe that the music blocks out distractions and helps them focus. But cognitive psychology and neuroscience show that this is actually a terrible strategy.
Really? I always thought studying with music was a good thing. Why is it so bad?
Because your brain is a meaning-making machine. It automatically tries to decode language whenever it hears it.
Even if you're trying to ignore it.
Even then. If you are listening to lyrics in a language you already understand, or a language you are actively trying to learn like English, your brain's language processing centers, like Wernicke's area, get hijacked.
Hijacked by the song.
Your brain is desperately trying to decode the narrative and the vocabulary of the singer in your headphones. And it is simultaneously trying to decode the complex academic concepts written on the paper in front of you.
Okay, let me use an analogy here to see if I understand the mechanics of this.
Go for it.
Studying English grammar while listening to English lyrics is basically like trying to hold two completely different conversations with two different people at the exact same time.
That's a great way to think of it.
Imagine person A is standing on your left side trying to explain how cellular biology works.
Right.
And person B is standing on your right side aggressively telling you a dramatic story about their broken heart.
Right, the pop song.
You cannot actively listen to both. Your brain bounces frantically between the two, it gets completely exhausted, and you end up missing half of what both people said.
That is a brilliant analogy. The scientific term for this phenomenon is dual task interference.
Dual task interference.
The linguistic input from the song causes severe interference with your reading comprehension and your ability to form long-term memories of the study material.
But wait, why is it called a metacognition trap?
Because your judgment of your own learning becomes flawed. Metacognition is your awareness of your own thought processes.
Oh, so you trick yourself.
Exactly. Because the music makes you feel good and keeps you sitting in your chair,
Yeah.
you feel highly productive, you think you are studying effectively.
But you're not.
Objective tests show that your actual retention of the material drops significantly when there are lyrics playing. You are studying longer, but learning less.
That is a brutal truth to accept.
It is for a lot of people.
So, if I have a huge test tomorrow and I really need to focus and study my textbooks, but the room is too quiet and I desperately want to listen to music, what is the best scientifically backed study hack?
The sources offer a very practical, straightforward solution.
I need this solution.
If your task involves processing language like reading, writing, or memorizing words, you must completely remove the language interference from your audio environment.
So silence.
Not necessarily. The absolute best option is to listen to instrumental music.
Music without words.
This means music with zero vocal tracks. Classical music, jazz, movie soundtracks, or ambient lo-fi beats are excellent choices.
Right.
Because there are no words, your brain's language center is left completely free to focus 100% on your textbook.
Okay, but what if I'm not a fan of classical music? What if I absolutely need the high energy of pop music to keep me awake while I study?
Then you can use a fascinating loophole in how your brain works.
A loophole, let's hear it.
You should listen to upbeat pop music, but it must be in a foreign language that you do not understand at all.
Wait, really?
Yes. For example, if your native language is Spanish and you are studying English but you do not speak a single word of Korean, then listening to K-pop is a fantastic study hack.
Wait, why does that work? There are still vocals in K-pop?
True, but because your brain quickly realizes that it cannot decode the linguistic patterns of the Korean language, it hits a wall and stops trying to translate.
It just gives up.
It just gives up. Once your brain gives up on trying to understand the words, it essentially treats the human voice as just another instrument, like a synthesizer or a saxophone.
Wow, so it just becomes background noise?
The vocals become a pleasant rhythmic background noise. It provides the high-energy stimulation you want to stay awake, but it doesn't steal processing power away from the English textbook in front of you.
That is genius. So if I don't speak Korean, I can blast K-pop while reading my biology textbook to stay focused.
Absolutely.
But when I'm in the shower, I should sing along to the Beatles and Neil Diamond to practice my English-connected speech, as long as I remember not to use their fake words on my university applications.
That is the perfect study plan.
I love it. Use the exact right tool for the specific task at hand.
Exactly. It's all about being intentional with your environment and understanding how your brain actually processes information.
Well, we have covered an absolutely massive amount of ground today. Let's do a quick summary of this journey before we let you go.
Good idea.
We started by discovering that music literally acts as a biological time machine.
Thanks to the memes.
Right. Because our teenage brains are incredibly adaptable, the music we hear during our reminiscence bump between ages 12 and 22 gets permanently glued to our emotional memories.
The hippocampus and the amygdala work together to create this bond, giving us a powerful psychological buffer against stress and sadness later in life.
We even found out we can inherit this nostalgia from our parents with the cascading bump.
A truly fascinating feature of the brain.
From there, we explored the complex and heated battleground between the live concert experience and at-home listening.
The great debate.
While your living room undeniably offers perfect audio fidelity, total comfort, and saves you a fortune in Ticketmaster fees, it simply cannot replicate the physics of live sound or the profound social rewards of collective effervescence.
Sharing a deeply emotional moment with thousands of other human beings is just hard to replace.
Even with VR glasses. And finally, we brought it back to your language journey. We learned that music is a highly effective English teacher.
It lowers your affective filter, reducing anxiety so you can actually absorb information.
It uses the power of repetition to lock in vocabulary, and singing along physically trains your mouth to master native pronunciation.
But you have to stay sharp and watch out for artists breaking grammar rules just to make a rhyme.
And you must avoid the metacognition trap. Never listen to English lyrics while trying to read your textbook, unless you want to exhaust your brain with dual task interference.
Stick to instrumental or K-pop for reading.
As we wrap up this deep dive, we want to turn the focus over to you, the listener. We want you to think about your own mental time machine.
What is the specific song that triggers your reminiscence bump? What is the one track that the moment you hear the first chord transports you instantly back in time?
And more importantly, for your language goals, the next time you put that song on, will you listen a little closer? Will you look at the lyrics to see if the artist is actually using proper grammar, or if they're just making up words like brong to force a rhyme?
It's definitely worth checking.
I know, I'm definitely going to be auditing my old playlists for fake words from now on. But before we go, I want to leave you with one final, slightly provocative thought to mull over.
All right, what is it?
Today we talked about how our musical tastes become permanently locked into our neural pathways during our teenage years. And we saw how music is arguably one of the most effective tools for hacking our brains to learn a new language.
Right.
So what happens in the very near future when artificial intelligence gets involved?
Oh, that's a big question.
Imagine a future where an AI can scan your digital history, analyze your brain chemistry, pinpoint the exact style of music from your personal reminiscence bump, and then instantly generate a brand new, personalized song.
Just for you.
A song perfectly tailored to trigger your deepest nostalgic emotions, but specifically written to teach you the exact English grammar rules you are struggling with.
Wow.
Will a personalized AI-generated nostalgia machine make learning a new language completely effortless and perfect? Or By using an algorithm to artificially hack our emotions in a lonely room, will we finally lose that messy, beautiful, shared human connection that makes music so powerful in the first place?
That is a profound and slightly unsettling question to consider as technology advances.
It's something to think about the next time you put your headphones on. Keep exploring the world, keep questioning how your mind works, and most importantly, keep learning. Thank you for joining us on today's deep dive. See you next time.